It's a quiet night in the German countryside, and a young woman is in labor. She is alone, surrounded by the sterile white walls of a maternity home. But this isn't just any maternity home. It's a place run by the Nazi regime. A place where the birth of her child will be used to further the Nazi goal of creating a master race. The baby is taken away from her, and she is left alone. Once again, she thinks that her child will be raised in a supportive environment, but that wasn't the case at all. This was the reality for many women and children in the Lebensborn program, a Nazi eugenics and racial hygiene program aimed at increasing the birth rate of Aryan children through selective breeding. The stomach-churning events that occurred on these Nazi breeding farms are a dark chapter in history that should never be forgotten. Today we examine the shocking details of the Lebensborn program and explore its legacy on modern-day society. The Lebensborn program was a Nazi initiative aimed at increasing the birth rate of Aryan children, and it is one of the most horrific events in the history of the Third Reich. The program was responsible for the forced pregnancy and mistreatment of women and children, with the goal of creating a pure race. The origins of Lebensborn can be traced back to the early 1930s when Heinrich Himmler, the head of, became increasingly concerned about the declining birth rate of Aryan Germans. Himmler believed that the survival of the German race depended on increasing the number of pure German children being born. In response, he launched a program to encourage the birth rate of racially pure children. The first Lebensborn facility was established in Munich in 1935, and by 1939 were over 20 Lebensborn homes across Germany, Norway, and other occupied territories. The program's initial focus was to provide financial support to unmarried mothers who were pregnant by racially pure men. The children born in Lebensborn homes were considered to be part of the master race, and they were given preferential treatment in education, employment, and other areas. The key figures involved in the Lebensborn program included Heinrich Himmler, the SS leader, and Gregor Ebner, who served as the program's administrative director. Other influential individuals in the program included Dr. Karl Brandt, who was responsible for the selection of women for the breeding program, and Dr. Leonard Conti, who oversaw the program's medical services. Himmler was the man who had the largest role in creating and building this program. He was the driving force behind the program's expansion and was directly involved in many of the program's day-to-day operations. Gregor Ebner, the administrative director of the program, was responsible for overseeing the construction and operation of Lebensborn homes. He also oversaw the program's financial resources and fundraising efforts. Under his leadership, the program grew quite rapidly. Lesbos' objectives were achieved through a range of policies and practices, some of which were extremely disturbing and cruel. One of the primary methods of achieving the program's goals was the forced impregnation of women. Women who were deemed to be racially pure were often chosen to mate with racially pure men, whether or not they consented. Some women were raped, while others were coerced into relationships. The Lebensborn program also sought to separate racially pure children from their families and communities, to raise them in homes that were specifically designed to reinforce Nazi ideology. Children who were raised in Lebensborn homes were indoctrinated with Nazi propaganda and subjected to extreme physical and psychological abuse. Many children were also subjugated to medical experiments and forced sterilization. Candidates was a crucial component of the Lebensborn program. Women who were deemed to meet the criteria were encouraged to have children with similar men, regardless of whether they were married or not. The selection process was overseen by Dr. Karl Brandt. Brandt used a variety of criteria to select women for the program, including their physical appearance, family history, and political beliefs, who were considered to be racially pure, were often subjected to medical examinations to confirm their eligibility for the program. Lebensborn's efforts to increase the birth rate of Aryan children were extensive. The program provided financial and material support to mothers who were pregnant with racially poor children, and it encouraged women to have as many children as possible. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Lebensborn program was the role of forced pregnancies and the mistreatment of women and children in Lebensborn facilities. Many women who were impregnated against their will were subjected to extreme physical and psychological abuse. The children born in Lebensborn facilities were also subjected to mistreatment and abuse. They were often separated from their families and communities and raised in homes that were specifically designed to reinforce Nazi ideology. The Lebensborn program was not limited to Germany, but operated in several countries. It quickly spread to other countries under Nazi occupation. The program was particularly active in Norway, where around 8,000 children were born to Norwegian mothers and German fathers. The Norwegian government had initially sought to maintain a neutral stance during World War II, but Germany invaded Norway in 1940. The country fell under Nazi occupation. The Lebensborn program quickly gained a foothold in Norway, where it operated a network of maternity homes and nurseries. The program was particularly ruthless, and women were often forcibly impregnated by German soldiers. Many of the children born under the program in Norway were taken away from their mothers and raised by German families. The program also operated in Austria, where it was used to facilitate the adoption of children with Aryan characteristics, particularly those who were fathered by SS soldiers. The goal was to increase the number of racially pure children and create a pool of potential supporters for the Nazi Party. The Lebensborn program was highly controversial due to its racist and eugenicist aims. The program's emphasis on eugenics and selective breeding was widely criticized by many people both within and outside of Germany. Many people saw the program as a cruel and inhumane attempt to force women to bear children and to create a society based on racist beliefs. The program was seen as a violation of human rights and a threat to the fundamental values of equality and respect for all people after the war. Many Lebensborn children faced discrimination and stigma due to their association with the program, and because they were often born to unmarried mothers. Many of these children were rejected by their families and communities and faced significant challenges in their lives. They often struggled to find acceptance and a sense of belonging, and many faced ongoing prejudice and discrimination. The legacy of the Lebensborn program is complex and continues to be a subject of controversy and debate. Many people are still grappling with the complex history and consequences of the program and the way in which it reflects broader issues of racism and discrimination. Resistance to the Lebensborn program also came from outside Nazi Germany. Allied forces sought to undermine the program by bombing and destroying Lebensborn facilities. In addition, many people across Europe saw the program as a threat to their own communities and actively worked to resist it after the war. The destruction of Lebensborn facilities and documents was a top priority for Allied forces. In addition to the physical destruction of facilities, Allied forces worked to erase any evidence of the program's existence. This was done to prevent the program from being glorified or emulated in the future. The legacy of the Lebensborn program is complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, the program is a reminder of the horrors of Nazi ideology and the importance of promoting tolerance and respect for all people on the other. The program has had a lasting impact on discussions around eugenics and reproductive rights. Contemporary discussions around eugenics often center on the ethical implications of genetic engineering and other forms of selective breeding. The Lebensborn program is a stark reminder of the potential dangers of these practices and the importance of ensuring that they are used in a responsible and ethical manner. Similarly, the legacy of the Lebensborn program continues to be felt in discussions around reproductive rights. The program was a clear violation of the rights of women and children, and a reminder of the need to protect these rights in all circumstances. It is essential that we remember and learn from the history of the Lebensborn program, not only to honor the memory of its victims but also to prevent similar atrocities from occurring in the future. By recognizing the dangers of extremist ideology and the importance of protecting the rights of women and children, we can work to build a more just and equitable world for all people. We'll see you next time.